going on, everyone? Welcome back. So today we are playing with the 1000 horsepower bike, but the first thing I got to do is finish up the cooling system. So as you guys can see here, so we got an electric water pump and we're using -10 AN fittings. So what I did was I had one of these laying around. This is, I guess the earlier bikes had made this out of aluminum versus they're plastic now. So I took it and I welded a -10 fitting on it and put a 90 on it, another 90 off our water pump, and I'm gonna have to weld in a fitting right here. It'll go something like that, but I'm gonna chop it down and I'm gonna chop it on a little bit of an angle, because if you see it points out, I wanna chop it in just a slight miter so it'll be a straight shot across. And this side is gonna go out on an angle. And just a shout out to my welder friends out here. Know how big of a pain in the butt it is to weld really old and or used cast aluminum. All sorts of porosity and shit gets pulled up, so it makes it really hard to make a really nice weld. And I really had to fight this thing to get this fitting on here. So I'm gonna pull off the radiator and we'll get over to the welding bench and let's start cutting up this radiator. So if you guys are new to welding or new to, well, just new to welding or want to learn how to weld, so this being aluminum's super hard to, it's not super hard to weld, but what makes the big difference between like an okay weld and a really good one is making sure your aluminum's super clean. So these red Scotch-Brite pads work really well for that. So before I cut this off, I'm gonna do a bulk of the cleaning now, because once it's cut off, it's just gonna be a little nub. So we'll go ahead and sauce this one up a bit. Technically, aluminum's not supposed to corrode, but it does, especially certain types. See how it's brightening up? Getting there all nice and deep black. Oh yeah, pulling up all kinds of shit. Gotta make sure you knock everything over when you're cleaning shit. And of course, in the video, I'll fast forward through a bulk of this, but like I said, figure try something new. Maybe I'll say something funny. I do that from time to time. Really mainly just focused on the lower part here. All right, see how it's nice and bright now? That should be pretty good. Might have to jazz it up just a little bit later. Now, if you remember when I was showing on the bike, I wanted it to come out at a little bit of an angle. So I'm gonna mark it with some tape, just as kind of like a reference as to what angle I want it to be at. Not that it's gonna help too much, just like that. Gorgeous. Now, got too much angle on that dangle. I'm gonna try and get it as low as possible too, because there's this little like bead roll, I guess I want to call it that. Pretty sure this is going to be useless, but can't say we didn't try, right? All right. So you can see I have it just on a slight angle because I just want to make sure I pull that fitting in just a little bit. So I'm gonna get the old choppy boy out here and see if we can't fuck this up. It's not good, but it's not bad either. And clean it up and see what it looks like. Where'd my deburr tool go? Help, I need an adult. Where the hell did I use it? If it was a snake, it would have bit my nose. For safety reasons, you always want to unplug your grinder when you're changing the wheels. Next, last thing you want to do is want it to start up. Just like that. All right, I can deal with that. Gotta hit with the file a little bit around there, but the fitting lays in there pretty nicely. Cool, it's angled just this way, just enough, and slightly down. So I think we could work with that. Also, I want to give a shout out to a company called Monkey Fab. That's here in Houston. That's where I get most of my fittings and stuff from. So the owner is a retired Navy guy or Army or something like that. But what he specializes in is just selling like really useful like automotive fab stuff and like plumbing stuff. So really high quality fittings, awesome weld bungs, and he's on the other side of Houston, but if I order stuff, I usually see it the next day, so works out pretty well. But really good stuff and really good priced. You can get fittings for cheaper than this, for example, but the problem with cheap fittings is a lot of the time the bores, even though it'll be like a dash 10, the bores will actually be a lot smaller than what the fitting itself is. Like I got something over here I can show you. So here's a China Boy fitting, and you see the bore, but you see how much flat space is there? The bore doesn't go all the way to the edge of the fitting. but a good fitting, it'll go pretty much all the way to the edge. And that's really the difference between China and cheap fittings, and not saying that you can't find China fittings like this, but he just makes it really easy, and he's about the same price as like Amazon and eBay fittings and shit. So check him out. So even though this is a brand new fitting, you still want to go through and just slick it up a little bit. There's still surface oxidation on there, so it just helps with the welding. Just shine it up a little bit. Pretty good. Nice. So before you do welding on aluminum, and especially stainless, you want to wipe the surfaces down with acetones, which is what my camera is sitting on right now, so I'll have to stop the video for a second and wipe it down. So give me 1 second. All right, so we're all cleaned up here, and another aluminum welding tip: you always want your fit up to be good. You want as little gaps as possible, and got a little bit of a gap there. But that's good enough for the girls I go for. So go ahead and start burning this in. So here we go. What I'm going to do is just go dance around the top of this real quick. It'll help kind of preheat the part, and it'll also start giving it some cleaning action. Now we can go ahead and try and burn this one in. Sure, some of you advanced welders be like, what the hell are you doing that shit for? You know, there's plenty of different ways to skin a cat. This is just what I do. This is just what I found works for me. Actually, that flattened it out pretty nice. Cool. Even better for the girls I go for. All right, let's see what happens. Let's tack this in. My mask kept flipping on and off, so I was kind of looking straight at it for a second there. 0 out of 10, would not recommend doing that. See, I make myself laugh. That's all that matters, right? Just here trying to have some fun. Really need to clean off my fab table. I said fab table, not fab table. Get another tack over here. All right, I'm gonna let this cool down for a few minutes. So the radiator tank is now too hot, and this fitting is not warmed up enough, so the tank wants to melt away first, which it's gonna do naturally because it's thinner right here, but the temperature imbalance is a little bit too different right now, so it's gonna let it cool down for a few minutes, and we'll come back and keep filming. All right, we'll let this thing cool down a bit. And I'll go ahead, see how this turns out. See if we can't lay down some dimes so we can't go on Instagram and start flexing. You know, hashtag stacking dimes or whatever it is those kids are saying these days. Very annoying. Not bad. See, a little bit of extra prep time and put in. I'll just make sure the welds come out. See how they're nice and shiny and clean. That's how you want to do it. Well, got it all finished up. Did all lines and everything. Pretty good. I went ahead and did the other side off camera, and good thing I did, because for all the reasons I said about taking your time for the prep work and all that stuff, to avoid porosity and all that, happened. So it doesn't look great, but I made the best of it. It won't leak, and that's all that really matters. All the rest of the stuff, well, the next video or two is gonna be nothing but like fab work, really, because as I mentioned before, I'll be making the rack that's gonna go right here to mount the ECU2 and all that stuff. So, yeah, so I'm gonna see how I'm gonna tackle that video, but once I get into like wiring and stuff like that, then I'll do a more proper video, if you will. So, hope you guys learned something. Let me know what you guys thought about this style of video. Maybe I can do some more like this. But till then, I'll see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe. Take it easy, guys.